Hello and welcome to the Crypto Knowledge Alliance. I think we should be live now. Just wait to see that update. Excellent. Hi. Welcome to the Crypto Knowledge Alliance. It's me, Jimbo. We're going to have a little look at the markets at the moment. It's a bit of a grim picture that's being painted for Bitcoin right now, but we're going to dive into it and see if we can work out where it's going to go next and what its potential moves might be. If you guys can hear me okay, just let me know in the chat if that's okay. I'm going to start cracking on with the Bitcoin stuff anyway. So we'll start with a 4-hour chart. We'll dive straight into Bitcoin 4-hour chart. And basically, in the last video, we were sort of looking at some of these horizontal trend lines and the diagonal upwards trend lines. And we were saying that we had the potential to break through them. We saw several bounces along these trend lines. And we were hovering very close, and as you can see, we broke down, came straight through this bottom one, and well, we will really want to see a recovery soon if we're going to see a recovery. I think we're in a bit of a dangerous zone at the moment. I think you probably see that yourselves. Although I wouldn't say it's all completely doom and gloom. One thing that would lead me to have a more positive outlook is that the stochastic RSI is quite that low down in its zones now. So there's certainly more room for the stochastics to improve, which of course would give us hopefully some positive price action. But the price at the moment is not looking too great, down 3.5% on the day. I think what we would really be looking for, what I'll be looking for. And I'm not a financial advisor, of course. I'm just giving you my opinions on how I see things. That green line there at 7,558, of course that's approximate position, but that line there, that support horizontal, I think that's quite significant. I think that's almost like let's say point of no return. But if we fall beyond that support zone, I would expect to see quite a bigger retracement. Maybe not immediately, it may take a few more days, and it could just be a turning of the tide on the momentum slightly. I could be wrong. It's just seeing those diagonal trend lines and that pattern that we've been forming break is never positive. You want to see that trend continue, or if you're going to break out of it, you want to see it break to the upside, of course. I hope that you guys can hear me. I haven't seen any chats come up yet, but I'm gonna keep cracking on. I imagine if the mic wasn't working, you'd have probably told me that. So I will keep cracking on. So yeah, here on the daily, again, you can see stochastics coming down into the lower zones, pointing downwards. The RSI has shown us bearish signs, in my opinion. Certainly we're looking bearish until we break back above this line. For me, short term, I'm not saying that we haven't seen potentially the start of the bull run. I'm just saying that there's some room for retracement here. In my opinion, if we see a break back above that trend line there on the RSI, I'd expect to see possibly some movement back to the upside from Bitcoin. We will wait and see what happens there. Sorry guys, I'm not sure if the chat is working or not. I don't know if you guys have put anything in there. Just give me one moment. I'll try refreshing what I'm watching on. No, okay. I'm not seeing anything. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that on Bitcoin in the short term. There's one thing that I think is also rather important to watch here is this double top formation. You've seen the drop there in the RSI. You can see that we've got this bearish divergence here. When you've got the RSI getting lower and you've got these price peaks, the corresponding price peaks here and here. Price getting higher, RSI getting lower. It's not a good sign, certainly in the short time frame. Let's have a look, see if we can flick over to the weekly, because for quite a long time we were watching the weekly stochastic RSI, and we were saying, look, this was discussed on the channel for quite a long time. We were saying if this stochastic RSI on the weekly comes back down and gives us a full drop, like it has done on several other occasions. It's not very visible here on the BitMEX chart. I'd have to go onto a different chart to show you, but you can see on the occasions that the weekly stochastic RSI has dropped from the high zones, we've seen large retracements, and we've now seen that certainly this candle formation is developing it, and we can see here the leading indicator on the stochastic RSI is the blue line, and we've seen that cross back down over the orange line, which, I mean, you can see what that candle looks like. There's the green horizontal line that I pointed out at the beginning of the video, the 755 the dollar level area. We really want to see that hold, otherwise we could certainly see some of these gains slashed off that we've seen in the last week or so, or last few weeks, sorry. There's quite a significant area of price there at 5,800. You can see, 1, 2, almost down there again, just hovering above the zone for a while. Formed as resistance there before we broke through it and really pushed up. So that would be an interesting zone to keep an eye on there as well in the longer time frames. So let's go and have a look, quickly jump onto CoinMarketCap, see if we can find anything interesting happening in the markets and any charts that might be worth our attention. Certainly one that I think that might be on the interest list of some of the viewers today would be Matic. So we'll jump over to Matic and have a quick look at that. If you guys have got any sort of chart requests, or you want to have a look at any of the charts, just pop them there in the chat box, and I'll get around to having a look at them. Yep, just drop them in. So let's have a look at Matic. Big run up candle there on the weekly. Well, so yeah, it's quite a nice looking 1-day chart at the moment. I think personally, it's my personal opinion, of course. Reiterate, not a financial advisor. I'm just to letting you know what I see here. I think we've got a nice formation there on Matic. We're seeing the 1-day stochastics potentially starting to show us that bull cross there at the bottom. Hopefully we're going to see a nice big bounce out of this low zone on the stochastic RSI, and that will drive the momentum and price. Can see that we have hovered above 50 on the RSI, and you can see what happened previously when we bounced off the 50 and started heading positively up towards the overbought zone here. We saw a nice big price increase in that time. Perhaps we have seen a short-term bottom, so we've seen a nice big run up. Maybe we're seeing this bounce stop here. Maybe if we overlay the Fibonacci retracement, we might see something else. Perhaps we're at an interesting level. Hovering right there at the 618, right about that zone. Perhaps we're seeing a bottom at the 618. I think we could see potential play from here. Down at 245. It has been higher today. I do think it's been higher today. Oh, hi there, Matt the Carpenter here. Hello, mate. Just joined in late. What have I missed? Well, unfortunately, Matt, we started off with Bitcoin, and I painted a not very nice picture for that. Perhaps in a little while, I'll just go back over that. We'll let things roll on for a little while, and then we'll jump back into that. There was someone in here while I was saying that, so they probably don't want to hear me repeat it all straight away. We'll get to it. Just having a quick look at Matic now. So I haven't missed too much. Yeah, interesting to see this bouncing here on the 0.618 level. Maybe we're going to see a nice high bounce here and retest some of these previous highs. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Do like having a look at the 3-day time zone as well. You get the what? Let's see. We haven't got enough data to form these RSI or stochastic RSI just yet. Yeah, again, guys, chat those ideas down there in the chat room. If you want to have a look at anything, just let me know and we can get on that. Yeah, so on this 3-day time zone, because Matic hasn't been trading for too long on Binance, we haven't seen the stochastic RSI and the RSI develop yet. Got these EMAs here, only the 7 forming, and actually we've got the support there on the 7 on the 3-day. So that's worth keeping an eye on as well. You can see we've traded above that for quite a few candles now. And interestingly, we are seeing support here, which corresponds with the 1 day seeming to have found a bottom on that run up. Interesting. That they're really interesting to watch this one short term. Keep an eye on it. Do your own research. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I hope I've got your name right, Dom Sweder. Dom Misweder. Hey Jimbo, late joiner as well. Looking forward to Howdoo. Yes, yes, me too. Me too, very much so. Dom, great to have you here. If you have anything that you want to take a look at, you can pop it there in the chat room, and I'll try my best to cover it. Um, I'd like to quickly also have a look at the one chart. I've seen a lot of people talking about that today. Obviously, that's recently hit the markets. Harmony up 18%. Big day candle. Let's get a bit of a closer time frame so we can make a bit more of the data. That's chart not much use for us. We're coming up and retesting these previous resistance levels here from the very beginning of the trading, the initial spike. So congratulations to any of you that bought down here on this dip. I'm sure you have seen a nice profit. Let's have a look and see what sort of price range be realistic from an entry point, and almost potentially 40% run up there. So if you're in that, congratulations. It's good to see. Again, can't make much of the stochastics or the RSI right now because it's such fresh data. But you know, if you want to pay any attention to them, it's extremely high. So it's either going to run like crazy, or we're going to see a bearish cross and see it get rejected. We'll have to see how these next few candles form to paint a bigger picture. What we can do is then we can zoom in a little bit on the time frames so that we get a better picture of what's going on. And look, now what you can see is we've got more data on this relative strength index and the stochastic relative strength index, and we can now begin to use them to see how the momentum's flowing. We see, like we've seen on the 4 hour, we are quite high on the top there. Is this a peak for it? We'll have to watch and see how this 2 hour candle plays out. I think we are currently forming a higher peak on the RSI, which is a nice sign. But like I said, with 17 minutes of this 2 hour candle left, we could see a rejection, which might see us top out. Maybe we'll see that in the stream. That's 17 minutes away from now. So maybe we'll better see that in the stream. I am. Oh, Dom. Oh, excellent. Yeah, great to have you here, Dom. Great to have you here. Excellent. Yeah, yeah, it's great to have you as part of the alliance. I'm really happy with the Telegram group. It's going just the way I wanted it to go. We've got a really nice group of people in there. There's active chatter, and people are discussing ideas and passing us, talking about things that they have a wider reach of knowledge to share with us, and got news always going in there. And it's great to see it's so active. I'm really enjoying it. As I say that, it pops up down there in the corner. So I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. So yeah, so on the 15-minute time frame, so we can see if we can get an idea of how this 2 hour candle is going to close for one. We can see that well, the stochastics are pointing down, and so is the RSI not looking too strong at the moment. But we are seeing a green candle. Well, it's battling itself at the moment. 50 seconds till close. We'll watch and see how it plays out. Is it going to turn red, or is it going to stay green? So yeah, whilst we watch that, yeah, Matt the Carpenter, yeah, brilliant admins as well. Absolutely, Matt, Matt, Kukla, and Rahul. Thank you very much for everything you do for the group. Keep everything ticking over nicely in there, and yeah, I really appreciate that. It's great to have you on board. You guys have been supportive for quite a long time now as well. So for most of the time that the group's been active, you guys have been about, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. Look at that. 5 seconds to go. 20% up at the moment. It's going to stay green on that 15-minute candle. Maybe we're going to see this 2 hour close green. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so let's quickly go over to coin market cap. But yeah, again, like I said, guys, any charts that you guys want to look at, just chuck them in there. Small, you can go for the micro caps if you want. You can we can go for any of the large coins. Anything at all. Um, see what's gainers and losers we've got here on the day. MMO coin up 122.9%, but such a small amount of volume, $64,000 in 24 hours. It's not. I'm not saying that's a small amount of money, but for a volume, it's not a huge amount. Pay attention to the ones over in the millions. That's where we start getting a bit more interesting. We've got Jewel up 122.9% on $2 million USD. So I'm going to check this out because I vaguely remember hearing about Jewel, but I never really dug deep into it, in all honesty. So let's have a quick look at that. Joule is a non-government controlled digital advanced currency that enables you to send money any place on the planet immediately, safely, and basically for nothing out of pocket. Government controlled digital advanced currency. Which government? Hmm. Well, it might be worth digging into. The fact that it just says a government, what government? I'll do some research onto that, guys, and let you know if there's anything of interest there. At 122% up, it was more interesting yesterday, anyway, for certainly in the short term. Matt the Carpenter. What do you know about the Halo DEX? A super fast blockchain. Halo is the coin. They have masternodes with good returns. Games on the blockchain. Yeah, so Matt, it was actually yourself who brought this to my attention for the first time. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you could correct me if I'm wrong. Their exchange is the one that Howdoo's active on, I believe, if that's correct. I've only briefly looked into it, but they do offer a wide range of services on their platform, and I always think that's interesting, especially if they can do that successfully. And of course, we know that at the moment, pretty much the word games is like uh, hot word in the cryptocurrency space. So if you can get games on the blockchain, I'd have to learn more about the technology involved in getting games onto the blockchain as well, because from one of the things that, from my perspectives, is we talk about from when I listen to projects talk about um, building their blockchains, they talk about not putting too much on, not to make them too clunky or too heavy, and putting videos on the blockchain isn't a good idea because it's going to start slowing it down. They want to try and minimize the heavy loads that they apply to these blockchains. So how do these games actually run? Are they actually run on the blockchain, or is it some sort of data that's saved that's immutable? I'd like to learn about how they're doing that. Obviously, I've seen engines, sort of adaptions to Minecraft and things like that. Are they doing things similar to that? I have to learn about that. It's interesting though. If they're doing games successfully, you can see they're advertising it here. That certainly would draw my attention. Certainly would draw my attention. Correct, buddy. Oh, so they're the guys with Howdoo listed on their exchange. Yeah. So I did actually jump onto the exchange, and it seemed okay. I don't think there was, at the time. It was obviously, I think it was launch day that I looked on there. There wasn't a huge amount of liquidity for for Howdoo, so I didn't jump back on. But the platform itself seemed nice. It seemed to have nice, easy to use interface. I had no complaints with it at the time. Look at Joule in the next day or so and see if I can learn any more about that platform. I think they're quite simple games, so not. Oh, okay. So more similar to perhaps what they did with Crypto Kitties or something like that, where it's sort of like buying, maybe something like that. Anything up with really significant volume? Harmony, yeah, up 14.5% on 176 million. So of course we've just been having a look at that. really pushing up with really strong volume. But of course, it is a Binance chain initial exchange offering coin, if I'm not mistaken. We know they get a lot of attention. Certainly, certainly in the most recent history, we've seen them getting lots of attention. Sorry, I'm just finishing my coffee. I finished work today and feeling a bit tired, so I thought I'd have a coffee to put myself up for the video. Okay, so obviously the main talking point for today is definitely Bitcoin and it's how it's sitting. Dom, pretty sure Jason is getting involved with their marketing. Oh, really? With the marketing for Halo as well. That's interesting if that's the case. I've got to say, big respect to Jason. Jason Sibley. I think I've correctly said his name. Yeah, big respect. He's doing some really cool things at Howdoo, and yeah, should be proud of his work. I transferred Halo from an exchange to my wallet. It landed by the time I changed screens. 1 second transfer. Oh wow, nice quick block times. Hmm. I have to have a look into that. Possibly do some more of my own research, and then look to perhaps take a position. Sounds strong, and also there's also that side of me that says as well. I'm obviously completely biased. I have to say again, not a financial advisor, so just this is my biased opinion here. But I'm a big fan of Howdoo, and I really liked what's happened with their marketing and the way that they've approached things. And I obviously Jason's there as part of that. So perhaps if you like you said, if he is getting involved with the Halo platform's marketing as well, perhaps we're going to see them do similar positive things. So, but if they also have very quick transfer times and things like that, and potentially very good technology, then that's even more bonus, right? To check them out. Talking of Howdoo, not these charts probably completely live. I'll go over to CoinGecko and check it in a second. Liquidity so low with at the moment with a token like this. We're just seeing it hover around the same price, but that's not too much of an issue. Not too much of an issue at all. If you are a holder of this token, you're happy to see this to sit there at the moment. Platform is up and live. The website's gone live. It's kind of in a beta testing mode. There are some of the early signups have got access to the website, and we're doing like sort of sharing little bits on there, and it's being used in its not full mode just yet, but it's getting there, and it's really good to use. I'm enjoying the interface very much. Easy, and it's interesting, and I've enjoyed a lot of seeing what the content creators are actually putting up there at the moment. It's a nice varied content platform, which is nice to see. And I say that specifically as well because I'm not comparing them. You can't compare different projects as per se off the cuff. But when I first joined Steemit, which admittedly was later than the early adopters for Steemit, when I first joined that platform, I went on there and all it was cryptocurrency stuff. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, because obviously I'm creating cryptocurrency content myself, but I also think that for a social media sort of thing to actually succeed, you need to have more than that. And I think maybe Steam are doing more things. I haven't used it for a little while, so perhaps they're expanding their boundaries now. But that was how it was when I first joined. And it's nice to see that there's such a varied set of content creators there on Howdoo already, just in the beta phase. They've also announced some interesting and exciting news in the last couple of days. They will be listing on a new exchange on the 6th of June, if I'm not mistaken. It was Coin Tiger. Let's just quickly jump over here. So Coin Tiger. Yeah, I downloaded the app, checked it out. It seems again looks really easy to use. I hadn't registered an account just yet, but I will be. And the reason I will be doing that is because Howdoo, sorry, have also announced a Howdoo trading competition there on Coin Tiger as sort of like a launch promotion. And if you just bear with me 1 second, I will read you out just a little bit of what Jason had said about that earlier on today. See if I can find it. Anyway, the trading competition, if my memory serves me, was for 490,000 Udus. They were going to be traded for um, a certain amount period of time, and their giveaway is based on percentage of your trading volume. So they're incentivizing people essentially to go on there and just go in there and trade that in return for getting the liquidity into the token on the platform at launch. Sorry, for the exchange at launch. Then people are going to be rewarded with this giveaway. So if you're interested in that, go and check out Coin Tiger. I will certainly be having a look at that myself. Yeah, and of course, additionally to the new exchange listing, like I said, they're in for sort of like a full beta mode test at the moment. So launch, isn't too far away for them, and that's when the utility of the Udo token essentially should begin to come to fruition. It's going to start being used, and then obviously you see volume increase, and that's again, of course, biased personal opinion. Do your own research and everything like that. I'm not a financial advisor. It's just my opinion. I saw a couple of interesting news stories. I'll quickly jump onto those. I won't go on for too much longer. Thanks for you guys that are here. It's excellent to have you here. I know I maybe have to try and refine what time to do these. Maybe we'll have to see if we can work what's the best time out to do these to get as many people in here to discuss with us at once. So I saw this. Let me see if I can find it. One of the ones that popped up. So yeah, this story here, U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation calls for they're looking to get the information off the exchange users, and the way this is depicted looks kind of like like, oh, it's bad. The FBI are looking into the exchange users. It's not looking good for them. But then if you sort of read into it, it's saying that basically it's to do with of course, the guy that unexpectedly died, and all the funds disappeared. Whatever the truth is behind what actually happened there. But the FBI basically said if people who've lost funds go to fill the questionnaire about their concerns with their experience, the FBI have responded and said if you are a victim and you complete the questionnaire, we may ask you for additional information. I mean, if you've lost a lot of money on this exchange, what's going to be your issue with providing some extra information to say, listen, I've lost this money? I mean, no, it's not ideal that this is happening to these people, this exchange whatsoever. I'm not saying that, but the issue lies with the fact that they've been hacked and they're or sorry, the funds aren't available to them anymore. That's the real issue, rather than, in my eyes, them looking to get some information. Also saw that local Bitcoins is going to be removing cash trades, but I think it's Finland. I think I read. Yeah, so well, I guess that's maybe it's worldwide because they're a Finland-based exchange. But yeah, they've been cash trading cryptos, and now they're saying no because they're getting in line with regulations, essentially, by the looks of things. So, Matt, just for your benefit, if you're still in here, I will quickly go back over to Bitcoin and show you this very pretty picture that I can paint. If you guys are still in here, if you could just go and put a like on the video, that'd be excellent. Hopefully that will help us get some more people in for the future live streams. So XBT USD. Oh wow, I think we've just dropped down. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Is that happen live? Have we just dropped down another 2.5% there? Yeah, we have broken that support line. Yep. Oh, perhaps not in the live stream. No. But we have plummeted, and sorry, I'm just quickly trying to react to this to see when it's happened. Yeah, we pretty much did Bitcoin at half past, so it's pretty much just after we looked at Bitcoin. It's absolutely crashed. But basically, what we were saying is what I was saying earlier is that I think we're seeing some slightly concerning signs. We're seeing Bitcoin break through all of these upwards trending support lines. and we've actually now broken through this horizontal support. We do have an important one to watch here. This isn't actually the chart I was working on a minute ago, was it? Yeah. I don't know. Lost some lines, folks. Anyway. But basically, just to wrap it up again, guys, the 1 hour, the 1 day chart is looking a little bit bleak. I would say perhaps we're seeing a little bit more positivity on the 4 hour chart. But 1 day wise, we are seeing trend lines be broken. And obviously, we don't want to see that. We want to see these support holds. We're seeing all the EMAs start to curve down. Where will we bounce? It'll be interesting to see. We've got some support, some horizontal supports to watch. But as for the upwards trending support lines, the trend lines of this move, they are pretty much all broken. So hold on to your hats. We might see some further downside for Bitcoin. We really want to see this 7.5 to 7.4 zone hold, because if we break through that, we could certainly start to see this drop off further. So yeah, interesting to see that's dropped another 2.5% in the stream. Dom says tether time. Dom, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll be watching, certainly be watching that 7.5 zone, because I think the downside from there could still be more, you know, especially once we've seen that wick all the way down here at 6.3 or whatever it stopped out at. That could potentially yet be significant once again. Yeah, of course, you have to make all these decisions for yourself when investing. It's, you know, but I'm just showing you what I think about the charts, and then you can do your own research based on that and decide what you like. But I'm just saying at the moment, from my personal perspective, it looks a little bit bleak. There are some signs that things could improve, in that the stochastic RSI is quite low at the moment. There's still room for it to drop further, but it could turn back up and see a positive momentum continue this push up. I do think that we might be in for a retracement of Bitcoin, which wouldn't be unhealthy. There's no reason for all of a sudden to throw in the towel and say, "Oh, we're going back to the bear market." You know, as I keep going on about in these videos, in the last bull market, we saw 7 times where Bitcoin retraced over 35% or around 35%. So just, you know, it happens. It's all part of the market. You have to decide what are your boundaries for, like I said, like tethering. What percentages are you happy to see move down or up? And also there's that emotional attachment is something I always harp on about. Also is separating investments and trades and stuff like that, and having your different levels of emotional attachment towards those positions. So you have to factor all of those things in. But Bitcoin is looking a little bit bleak. Let's have a look at the really shorter time frame and see if we're going to see a bit of relief from this before the end of this. Well, this year, the thing is, again, it's if we do pull down a lot further. I know we've already seen the alts react, but they're going to, you know, react even further if we see. Yeah, it doesn't look great at the moment, does it, folks? So, doesn't look great at the moment, folks. Tether time was yesterday. Because Bitcoin rose so quickly, there could be less support lines. Yeah, well, that's absolutely right, Matt. Let me. Ooh, trading views frozen up a little bit. Let me just delete all this for a moment. I'll just get rid of everything, and I'll just show you one thing in particular. Let's just put on the VPVR. And I think what we'll see is those, as we've discussed before about the VPVR, we see higher volume nodes where there's more trading activity. And I think what we'll probably see is that most of this run up is low volume nodes. And the reason that would be is because, like, there's less. See, look, and we can see on the run up, this is a low volume area because we just shot through it. There wasn't a huge amount of trading activity there. We're now at this high volume node area here, and we've stuck to it. But we break down and we can see we can certainly see retracement. Remember that once the price movement moves away from a high volume node, it speeds towards another high volume node. It moves a lot quicker through the low volume nodes and the high volume nodes. Man in Black, hi guys. Hey, nice to have you here. Yeah, great. Nice to have you join us. Probably do another 5 or 10 minutes before we wrap up if I can find something to have a look at. If you've got anything you want me to have a look at, Man in Black, just chuck it in and I'll jump on that. We're just sort of having a look at Bitcoin and watching it in a little bit in free fall today. But we know that that's all part of the market, right? So we see it go up, we see it go down. We control our emotions within these periods and just anticipate the movement, because and you stay live and go with it. Don't try and take too many steps ahead, because yes, we all have very bright thoughts about the future of cryptocurrency, and I think we all have our hopes and beliefs of where the price is going to end up. But that's all part of a natural movement. You can't get too caught up with the day to day. You just need to ride it and yeah, and try to manage your investments carefully. Is my approach. Just try and be careful. Okay, so let's see if anything stayed particularly just jumped out, stayed green. Actually, it'd be interesting to see. We've seen that one, and Matic will have seen that 2-hour candle close. So let's quickly jump over there and just see what happened. One's still running. One is still running. Men in Black, Jimbo, question for you. I noticed that every time the RVI crosses 80 on Abyss, there is a sharp rise. Is RVI a good indicator to look at? Stephen King. Bit late. I'll watch back. Yep. Great to have you here. Also, anyway, Stephen, you can feel free to jump back and see what's going on with Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah, so let's have a look at that RVI. I've got to be immediately honest with you. It's not one that I use every day. Relative volatility index, or is it the vigor index that you're having a look at, Man in Black? Maybe more likely volatility. It's I've got to be completely honest with you. It's not something I've ever used before. But let's see if we can go to Abyss. This is what this is all about, right? We learn it. We'll have a learn. We'll see what's going on the markets together, and see what we can absorb from each other's knowledge bases. Look at that. That's a nice chart to look at, isn't it? Absolutely a nice chart to look at. Relative volatility. Yeah. So, Man in Black, can you just let me know what time frame it is that you were looking at that chart on? And I'll overlay it here, and then we'll go on to the. Yeah, I never really look at it either. Don't know much about how to read it. Well, let's. I would suggest it's going to be similar to. Obviously, you've got a similar layout to the relative strength index and the momentum indicators. Relative. Was it the 4-hour chart? 15-minute chart. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's interesting to see, isn't it? You're right. There is. It's all about spotting patterns. That's how we do. That's all about charting is about spotting patterns, and there is something of a pattern here developing. You'd have to back test it on other things, and obviously it is a low time frame as well. But in the periods where we've seen the RVI above the 80 zone, it has seen price increases. Especially when we've seen it stay in this area for a long time. You see here it's come up quickly. We've seen a price increase, but not significant as it's when it stayed in the higher zones. See, we didn't really break at that time. We didn't see as much movement. It was on steady gains, but nothing too impressive. But then when we really broke through this 80 level on the RVI, you're right, it's seen a spike and then subsequently more. So it's something to have a look at. What I'll do, Men in Black, is will try and see if I can find something on Investopedia or something like that. And if I find something that's of use, I'll pop it in the group, and then we might learn together how to read this indicator, and we can then try and back test it on multiple coins, etc., and charts, and see what we get from that. You can see also, I mean, on this chart, this is just absolutely lovely at the moment. It's just running really nice, and you can see that the EMAs have just been lovely here. Every time it came close, and the 7 stayed above, we've seen it just pop back up and pop back up. see where we are now there. Currently underneath, but looking potentially to cross back over. So a couple more positive closes, and this could certainly look to push back up again. Although what I would say is that these charts on charts.cointrader.pro aren't as accurate and as time comparative as TradingView, which is pretty much dead live, where I think these have a little bit of lag on them. I nearly pulled the trigger today when it looked like it was going to cross 80. Glad I didn't because it was a fake out. Yeah, so I mean that's it, isn't it? One thing I will certainly say about technical analysis that is worth bearing in mind across all assets. This isn't just cryptocurrency. It, from my perspective, is that nothing's ever 100% accurate. You get people telling you they've got something that's 100% accurate, then let's see the results. But you just have to do the best what you can with spotting patterns and use the indicators that you feel comfortable with. And don't overstretch yourself. I have had moments in the past where I've been guilty of overstretching myself, but you learn which ones are the best and effective for you, and which ones that you can effectively work in combination together, because that's often the best. Use a couple in combination that you're familiar with using and comfortable with. But we will definitely have a look into the RVI and see if we can learn something about it, because even if it doesn't become something that we use every day, it's always good to learn, right? So we'll do that. Thanks, really appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. Wow, there was actually just a spike on TradingView. Actually, just a spike on TradingView. Oh, is a bit on TradingView as well? Have I just been watching it on the? Or was that something else? Oh, it is on here. Hit BTC, of course. Yeah, okay. So we're having a look at the 15-minute. You're saying it's spiked. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, bounced. The EMAs played out pretty much just like that. Yeah, low volume. Oh, I just deleted all of the EMA. I'll chuck them on quickly. Overlay them again. Yeah. Yeah, it's showing on Hit BTC on here. And you know, I'm not going to do this. Not that interesting, but we saw it on there. We saw the how the three EMAs had behaved here in the previous points, where we've seen them bouncing and getting closer, and then bouncing and separating, and it then crossing back over positive, and subsequently we had a spike. But it's nice to see that it's played out that way. But like you said there, it could just be that it's a low volume exchange, but you have seen a big jump. Actually, look, that is quite a large jump. Yeah, 30 odd percent. Not to be complained about. Not to be complained about. Okay, so if anyone has anything else that they want to have a look at, chuck it in there now. I'm going to do like 5 more minutes and then we'll cut it. So yeah, just 5 more minutes from now and then we'll cut it. Matic is currently still above 250. A bit of a crude cup and handle that I drew there earlier. It doesn't have all the characteristics to fall into a cup and handle exactly, but there, the formation's there, and we do have this neckline being broken. So it's definitely interesting and worth watching. If we stay above 250, the longer we stay above 250, in my opinion, the healthier this looks for Matic. I've just got the RVI, which I don't know how to read, so, so I can't comment too much on what that means at this point. If we overlay a couple that I do know how to use, it's the 4-hour chart on Matic. One thing I will say about Matic, I wonder this. Say, you guys, I'd love to know your opinion on what you think about this. Give me a comment. Let me take away this stochastic RSI in a moment. Do you recognize the shape of that chart? It looks an awful lot like the Bitcoin run up to me. I know, yeah, I'm not saying it's following the same pattern or anything like that. I'm just saying it looks an awful lot like Bitcoin looked for quite a period of time. Any thoughts on Eng, if you haven't mentioned it yet? Just give me 1 moment. I just need to cough, and I'm going to cough down the mic, and then I'm going to have a look at that Eng for you. Yeah, yeah, it's not just me, right? Yeah, it does look a bit like Bitcoin look like. You could be mistaken. That looks like some of my previous early thumbnails looked, when I first started the channel. That's kind of what they look like. But this is Matic, not Bitcoin. um, sorry, yeah, Eng. Let's just jump into Eng quickly and have a look at that. Guys, thank you very much for joining us for the stream today. By the way, I really appreciate it. We're going to keep cracking on with these. Hopefully, we'll start getting more and more people watching, and that's going to help drive people towards joining the Telegram group as well. We can have even more active discussion with more people, and that's going to be excellent. Get as many people involved in that as possible, and then we're going to learn for as many avenues. We've seen programmers join, and we've got some of the YouTubers in there, and we've got people involved with some of the companies in there, and seeing everyone's different perspectives gives you a better overall and rounded view of the space, in my opinion. And I feel very blessed that we've got those people in the group, and for everyone who's involved in the group has a huge amount to offer and add to the group, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. Matt Carpenter, you're right there. I was that about the chart looking similar, maybe. So, Eng, fundamentally, I just want to say that I really like Eng as a token. I know guys know that, but fundamentally I really like it. Just draw a bit of a formation out on this 4-hour chart, see what we can see. Yeah, that's that. I would say it's a pretty good word for it there. Man in black, accumulation. It's really nice to see us seeing a high low after this retracement from the big run up. That's a bit of a prettier chart seeing that there. Yeah, I mean it's looking nice. I guess we one thing I will say is the alts are such a slave to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's looking a bit treacherous. So certainly from my perspective at this point, I'll be any open positions I would be very careful with, and I'll be having stop losses and monitoring those. And um, in regards to opening new positions right now, I would want to wait and see what Bitcoin does. If we bounce off any of those supports that we looked at previously, then I'll be feeling more positive. But right now, with it hanging like that, we know what happens when they all drop. When Bitcoin drops. I mean, you sometimes get a couple that stay nice, but more often than not. But having said that, that aside, this at the moment it doesn't look too bad. You could probably characterize it as a falling wedge, just about. If I just move these a little bit, we can leave that one in there because I think that's still got an interesting part to play. Because then what you end up with is this sort of position. You've got to chart out what are both scenarios, okay? So let's chart out both scenarios, okay? We're seeing it, although it's moving within this potential descending falling wedge here. You can see that we're getting forced into a position where it's going to have to make its mind up to either push out and break out of this long-term trend line that we've seen. It's not quite in the right position, is it? Let me just. So the highest in fact, it's on right there, testing it now, because the most recent candle that would apply to the edge of this is where we've touched most recently. So you can see that we're getting forced really tight into this gap of decision time, whether we're going to push or we're going to drop back down. And by putting this previous support line in as well, we can get an idea of where we might see it. If it does break down below this line, where we might see a better entry point come into play. Of course, then we have the alternative to seeing if we break out past this resistance line with some volume, then we start getting interested, right? Do you tether your Eng or just hold? It depends on what pot that it's in at that particular time. And what I mean by that, again, this is my personal way of doing things. I'm not suggesting anyone else does anything the way like this. You don't have to buy or sell based on what I'm saying here. I'm just saying this is what I do. If I'm trading, then it's probably going to get tethered. The position's either going to be closed or it's going to go to Bitcoin, or potentially tethered. But if it's in the long cold storage pot, it probably just gets held because I have these different, like I said, I separate what the pots are at a particular time. So I might have Eng in cold storage, but then also have Eng that's part of an active trade. And it's the active trade pot, which is more likely to be then returned to Bitcoin or potentially tethered, whereas the cold storage is cold storage and it kind of just remains as it is. Yeah, that's kind of how I've done it. Maybe perhaps there's more efficient ways of doing it. I can see the benefits of tethering absolutely everything at once. I can see the benefits in that. It's just not actually what I personally do. Maybe I'll look into that into the future, but I kind of feel comfortable having the long holds. And then also there's that part of me as well where plays the accumulation plays the accumulation game. So for example, if I do really successfully with the trade, an altcoin trade, so say, all right, let's use Engine example, right? Let's say I put in a position, we sort of break out past this resistance line, I decide to take a position, and I make 50%. I know that's just, let's just use 50% for an example. So we see price come up and test this sort of area and get 50%. Now, what I might do is take some of the Eng as Eng and put it into the cold storage because it's still taking profit. Or I might sell it all as Bitcoin and then, move it on. Different plays at different times, different attitudes towards different pots. And the other, just try and keep them separated and like that. Okay, so yeah, I'll probably call it there for the day. I just take this opportunity at the end to say again, thanks for stopping by, guys, and getting involved. It's been excellent to have you here. We're going to start coming much thicker and faster. We're going to keep on doing these and hopefully get even more active discussion in here. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. If you could slap a like on the video, that'd be excellent. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm sure I'll be speaking to you guys in the Telegram group. If you're not involved in the Telegram group, there's a link in the description. Come and join and you can carry on the cryptocurrency conversation with us in there. Man, good luck out there, everyone. Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, good luck out there, everyone. That's it, exactly that. Yeah, so till next time, guys. Probably be a little bit later on in the week. I just want to put it out there now. I'm not making a precedent just yet of doing these every day because I'm not sure that I will be going forward doing every single day. So maybe we'll do 3 videos a week or something like that. But certainly I'll be scheduling them a bit more regularly so that we know when and expect to know when to go live. Yeah, you're all welcome, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by. It's been great to have you here and to have a look at the charts and stuff. Let's just. I'm going to do this. If I stop the video or not, I'm going to very quickly be looking at Bitcoin to see if it's dropped any further or bounced. So I might as well do it while you guys are still here. It looks like it's bounced. But it's a weak bounce, isn't it? So I know we're looking at the 5-minute chart, but at least it hasn't continued straight down. But it's not looking too healthy, is it? Anyway, guys, we'll keep an eye on that in the Telegram group. Till next video, guys. Thanks for stopping by.